Hey everybody, welcome to Pure Snowrunner. Welcome back if you're a repeat offender. Appreciate you. Uh, Today I'm going to do crates in the woods. We just finished towing some vehicle out, so wrong turn I think is what it was called. Anyway, so we're headed to the garage because I want to dig out another truck. Something with a flatbed, and there we go. Make it daytime more. And grab a trailer. We only need 5 slots because we got 5 spare parts to pick up. So, let's do this. Yeah, in the previous episode, I was talking about radio, how it was more prevalent. And I don't know if kids are listening, kids, or the younger generation, are listening to, they listen to the radio, but do they listen to the radio like we listen to the radio? Or myself listen to the radio in that genre. You know, that era, that time of the, back in the 1900s. Um, it's funny because, anyway, yeah. You were born in the 1900s? Yes. But, we were listening to music in my day. Back in my day, we listened to the music a lot. I mean, we didn't have the internet. You know, we didn't have YouTube. We didn't have TikTok. We didn't have anything. Amazon Prime, video, music. We didn't get to watch Hulu, Voodoo. We didn't have any of that stuff. It wasn't a thing. We'd go to video stores that you could go to and rent VHS tapes. And then later on, it went to DVDs and eventually Blu-rays, I think. But I don't know if Blu-ray went out or if Blu-ray was out when the video stores were still a thing, or if it was DVDs was the last format. But yeah, we were happy. You know, it's actually way back, they had Betamax players instead of VHS. It was Betamax, which is a better format, just never took off. Anyway, um, that's how we had entertainment. So we listened to radio. Radio was a big thing. Now I just listen to the radio just occasionally, you know. But with the new job again, touching on that, I more than likely will be listening to the radio a lot more. All right, let's find our route. We got to go all the way around train tracks. I should have went a different way. Let's go through here. That's Frank's house. We're just going to grab all the crates to trying to find my way through the woods here. It's a tight squeeze, it looks like. 3, 4, and 5. And once we get them, that should cover them all. Something like that. Once we get them all, then we will deliver them. They all go to Frank's house, apparently. Huh. I was thinking it was one to Frank's, one to Steve's, one to whatever. I don't know. Whatever the names are. But if it's all going to Frank's house, we can. That's all right. And you could do this with just a flatbed. I just make multiple trips, but I prefer to just get it done in one shot. So, and I do have another truck like this out on the map. I just decided to grab a new one and leave the other one there because I'm gonna probably be using it, and I'll have to drive back to that location. So I'm like, why not just get another vehicle right off the bat? So we'll get loaded up. We'll get a picture, all that good stuff. But yeah, it's so crazy, and I can't even imagine like in my time, what's died, what's come out, what was popular. Albums were a thing. Now they're back again to a limited, I think. But like your 38s and your 45s, LPs, um, record players, um, CDs. Why doesn't it? Oh, let's just keep going on the thing. Yeah, CDs, cassette tapes, 8 tracks were still a thing when I was younger. You had 8 track players in cars. Um, and then they came out with an adapter that you could put it into your 8 track player to play cassettes. It's like, this is awesome. Um, I mean, now what is it? Now, when you go to buy, is there stereo stores anymore? Car stereo stores? Because again, that's another thing. Back in my day, they had stereo stores. So you would go there and you could buy. Well, let's grab this. You could buy either CD player or a cassette player for your car. I personally uh, went with cassettes because that was my albums. That was my library was all on cassette. Car. We had this huge freaking thing that kept in the car, um, full of freaking cassettes. It was like a briefcase, bigger than a briefcase, a suitcase, full of cassettes. Now everything's isn't it? You just plug your phone in, so it's all Bluetooth stuff, right? I don't know. Again, I don't listen to. I listen to the radio. I don't plug in anything to my like a playlist off my phone or any of that stuff. Maybe I'll have to start doing that. I don't connect my phone to my car stereo, which obviously capable of doing. It's a newer car. I just don't. Again, it's gone so far. Cell phones were new. They started out with bag phones. Went from bag phones to cell phones, but the plans were outrageous. Boy, oh boy. They charge you for every little thing. It would cost you an arm and a leg to use that bag phone. The service sucked. Um, but yeah, back when phones, regular people had house phones. People had house phones, and they'd be like, "Hey, can I use your phone? Is it long distance?" That was one of the first questions that they would ask you, because you got charged extra for long distance phone calls. Think about that. They don't. There's no such thing as long distance anymore. It's weird. I mean, it's great, absolutely, but it's weird. Technology is a good thing in the right hands, I guess. But yeah, cell phones. Trying to think of other things that were. I guess stereos went from cassette 8 tracks to cassettes to. Actually, there was a car back. I want to say it was a '57 Chevy that had a record player in it, which is insane to think about. A record player in a car. How that record didn't just skip, 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 skip. Needle bouncing every time you hit a bump. Yeah, CD players, cassette tapes, 8 track. Now everything's all digital. There's people that still have cassette tapes. I guarantee it. I guarantee there's still people listening to the 8 tracks probably. Like, I got my 8 tracks. I'm not gonna go from that. Everything's got to be so dried out by now, boy. But think about, okay, so I'm of a certain age. But think of people that are older than myself that didn't even have TV. They started with, they'd gather around the radio. That was their, and they'd have radio programs. Um, we're talking people that are pushing 100 years old, but or in their 80s and 90s or whatever. But they had radio. They gathered around the radio for entertainment. Like, hey, it's the Howdy Doody Show, and you'd sit around the thing and you'd watch your Howdy Doody Show program or listen to, and you had to use your imagination to. They tell you a story, and you'd have to listen to it and um, imagine what Howdy and Doody and I don't even know. It was before my time, so I don't know what it was all about. But I'm guessing it was on that order. They have mystery stories or talk shows and stuff like that where you listen to the radio programs. And then the first TVs were black and white, and they were super expensive. I mean, just technology. You had to be rich to have a TV. And then they went to color. Well, they went to bigger black and whites, and then they went to color. Um, and that was crazy. I think our first family TV or television set was, which I never understood why they called it a television set. My guess is because some of the televisions had, I mean, these things were huge. They sat on a floor. It was like a floor model, and on the either side there was a record player on it, and it had huge speakers. Like 15-inch woofers on the sides, huge speakers. And Grandma would play her records, and then or Grandpa, Grandma, whoever would play their records. But you had a TV built into that. So that's maybe why it's a set then. I don't know. But yeah, it was just TVs, television. Alright, let's see if we can reach this one, do some fishing. Look at the little dot. There he is. We got one. But yeah, you go from TVs to radio to TV. And not every room in the house had a television. I'll tell you what, because they were expensive. Like, we'd go to my grandma's house, and it was color TV. It's like, and it was huge. It was a 25. It's funny to think back. It was huge. It was a 25-inch TV. Floor model. Backpack. And we thought that was a cat's ass. All right, where are we going? We got to go back to his house. Is there a train wreck in between here and there? Well, I guess I could just back up. But yeah, I mean, we'd go to Grandma's house, and she had a huge TV, because ours was like I said, our first family television set was I want to say it was like a 13-inch TV, and we'd all gather around that little ass TV. Well, we were happy. We had to sit close to the TV, and then we'd go to Grandma's house to visit, and she had this huge, in our eyes, huge 25-inch TV in color. It was like, holy cow, look at this thing. He looks so real with color. So all the programs that you'd been watching, the westerns and stuff, were still in black and white. And back when westerns were on TV, there's no such thing as that unless you go classic TV now, or MeTV, or whatever that channel is. There's no classics. You have to go back to that old school stuff, or go on the, what was it, Amazon Prime has like AMC Classics TV or History or whatever. But yeah, westerns used to be a thing, a regular thing. Sitcoms used to be completely different. Oh, just, but again, to be, say, 80 or 90 years old and go from, well, let's see. So if you're born in 1950, what is hypothetically it? You got to see the first man on the moon, whether you believe it or not. Um, so space flight. Um, like the first airplanes, you could smoke on the plane when you fly from, New York to California. You could smoke and have drinks, and I mean, you can now, but you can't smoke. They just had ashtrays built into the stuff. Crazy. But yeah, you go from that to, and people dressed up to be on the plane. It was a big deal back then. When you would go out for dinner or you would go out to do something like that, that was a fucking special thing. Nowadays, people are going in flip flops and pajama pants and whatever else is. It's like, it's not like that anymore. You know, they get on a plane smelling like an ass because they haven't had a shower in fucking forever. And it's like, seriously? You gotta smell your rotten ass the whole time? It's disgusting, really, is what it is. So you can afford a plane ticket, but you can't take a shower. But whatever. I digress on that. We have the days of all of that are all done. But you go from seeing all of that to being new, the new. I gotta get here. There we go. Cargo management. I didn't get a picture. I didn't get a picture. Well, here's a picture. You'll see the first one. I just thought about it. Like, I gotta get a picture. How about we go from this side? It's just a picture. It doesn't matter that much. Snippet. New. Save. Crates in the woods. Alright, we are saved. But yeah, you go from seeing all of this stuff. And if you're even older, you get to see the first, buses and TV or cars, Like my great grandmother was 102 or 103. So the amount of things that she's seen in her lifetime is crazy. With technology, with everything. And I don't know what's coming next, in my time yet. Anyway, so that's it. I want to thank everybody for watching. Think on that one. Ponder that. If say you're a teenager now, what's going to be happening in the next 60 years, technology-wise? You don't think they can do much more than what they've done, but you watch. You watch. And, think about that back in 50 years from now. You're like, wow, yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, thanks for watching. Appreciate you. See you on the next one.